Welcome back to the Hawksite Operators course. This is video number 10, Monitor, Review and Simulation. So to start with, we will open the Monitor and Review page by clicking on that section of the portal. The Monitor and Review page allows you to visualize your project risks on your Boston matrix. You can select risks directly from the matrix and open abbreviated risk register, and I'll show you that in a minute. This is useful when focusing on how to mitigate your highest level risks. You can make simulated changes to your assessment which will not impact your actual assessment, which is useful when justifying the effect of security controls or a change of threat level or target attractiveness on your overall risk profile. In essence, it allows you to model your security risk management strategy and to visualize the associated change in risk profile. So when you open the page, you can see two Boston matrices. They're structured in the way that you saved in the context stage, which we discussed in video number 4. On the left is the current risk matrix. It shows you the risks as they appear in your risk register based on the information and values that you entered into Hawksite. On the right-hand side is the residual risk matrix, an identical matrix, but shows you the risks after you have made simulated changes, and we're going to go through that in just a minute. If you click on a risk on the current risk profile, it will open an abbreviated line of the risk register showing you the makeup of that particular risk. And if you then click on that risk number, it will open up the risk treatment page for that risk. Now, if you make any changes on this risk treatment page, those changes will impact the overall risk profile in the actual risk assessment. So I'm going to close that down and reopen the Monitor and Review page. On the residual risk matrix, you can also click on a square and it will open up an abbreviated version of the risk register. What you can't do here is click on the risk number to take you to the treatment page. So if I close this down, and we'll move on to using the simulator. Now you'll see in this example that we've got a current risk profile, residual risk profile showing different risks, and a summary of the changes that were made to get from the current to the residual risk profile. So to show you how we did that, the first thing I'm going to do is reset the simulator using the Actions button and Reset Simulator. Simulated changes are made by selecting the tabs at the top of the page. So starting with Threat, we can go through each of the threats associated to this project and make the changes by selecting the values in each of the data fields. We can also make changes to the level of criticality, again by selecting each critical asset and then changing the assessment using the table provided. If we select target attractiveness, once again we can make changes by selecting the critical asset in question and then making changes to the critical asset, to the target attractiveness rating relevant to that critical asset. On the protective security controls, we can make changes to individual controls or by selecting Actions and change all reactive security controls or change all protective security controls, we can change all the controls simultaneously to the same level. And likewise with the reactive security controls. So we can change each individual control measure or we can change all control measures simultaneously. Once you've made your required changes, go to Actions, Save, and Hawksite will save the simulated changes and return you to the simulator page. Once back on the simulator page, you can see the change in position from the current risk matrix to the residual risk matrix. Underneath the current risk matrix, you can see a list of all the changes, all the simulated changes we made. You can also see a change to the current financial exposure and residual financial exposure if you selected financial values in the consequence table at video 4. If you want to print the findings of this simulation out, which is useful when discussing or justifying security controls in a meeting, select Reports, Print Simulator Report, and the report will look something like that. Once you've finished with the simulator page, you can press Actions, Save, or Actions Return to Portal, and the changes that you made will be saved until you revisit and select Reset Simulator.